What's up, everyone? All right, we're working this time. Here we go. All right, so a little change of laptops, going back to the old one where, we're all reliable at this point. And we're back. Hooray. Um, Thank you guys if you're going to come back and, after the, about 20-minute long audio debacle that we just had. I guess we're back in the saddle again. For those of you who don't know, I'm Albert Albanese, and I am the host here of the Slam Sessions. If this is your first live stream, welcome. If it's not your first, welcome back. There's been so I went try to go into this before, but no one could hear me, unfortunately. But now that everyone has, hopefully, once we start getting people in this room, which I know will happen, and probably in another couple of minutes, everybody's probably just like, "Oh, look, he's back live again. Guess it's just not going to work." And hopefully that means people will actually start clicking onto it and start coming on here and interacting a little bit more. But I started to say this earlier, and I was having audio issues. Hmm, Sorry, I'm still not 100% here, so this might not go as long as we usually do. Um, and that's actually what I've been trying to get at. Uh, so, as many of you guys know, for those of you who have been with me and following me, and have been fans of this channel and fans of Dave's channel. Unfortunately, myself and Dave Lee lost our building that we usually record in. Due to that, Dave and I haven't been live in quite some time. Um, so, with that being said, uh, there have been multiple reasons why we haven't been able to get back live. Part of it has to do with me. Um, Obviously, the distance. We did the live streams a while ago. For a little while, we did them um, virtually. That's the word I was looking for. I don't know why I couldn't find it. So we did everything virtually, and I'm wondering if no one got a notification that I'm live now. I wonder if that's the reason why no one's in here. Because I'm looking now, and I actually don't think I've gotten a. Yeah, I didn't. Well, I'm gonna put back on. Go back on here now and see if we can. Let's go back in here. I would apologize, but there's nobody in here right now. So if you're just watching this back, you can just fast forward until things get a little bit better, I guess. Just give me 1 second. We're back. Come on in and join me now. Let's see if I let people know on Twitter that we're back, that we'll get a little bit more interactions here. Yeah, okay. So, getting back into things. Dave and I were doing virtual streams for a little while during the pandemic. Things, it's hard. Technology's hard, and it's hard sometimes to do it every week. Every single time Dave and I would, this is the stuff that you guys don't see. And I don't know if Dave's explained this to you, and I don't even know if he wants me to explain it to you, but whatever. But every time Dave and I would try to go live, there would always be some sort of a learning curve that would have to be imparted on us. It was never easy. He never changed settings or anything like that. And, he would just come back to me during the middle of the week, and then all of a sudden, bang, we wouldn't have anything. So I don't know what the issue was there, but fortunately, we had gotten that fixed for the most part. But being live in person in the same room is a lot easier for Dave and I to work. So it's something that me and him have talked about trying to go back to doing again. But there's also a lot of reasons why I haven't been cranking out the content. Now I know the jokes that are going to be made and they're fair. I haven't been consistent with what I've been uploading, and that's on me. It's not on anyone else. It's on me. It's a lot of my 9 to 5 getting in the way, and then I do a lot of work on a computer, staring at a screen all day, and sometimes the last thing I want to do is stare at a screen for an hour or two, and even edit or even do my own stuff. Before the new year, before the holidays and everything, I recorded a full-blown 3-part video that I wanted to share with you guys, and I was excited about it. I had everything recorded, and I liked the way most of it came out. The only thing I would really have to do is do a full-blown voiceover over the back of it in order to start editing everything. But unfortunately, when the holidays came around, which was right after I had filmed everything, I really just started not feeling too well. As you can hear in my voice, I'm still very much congested. I still do not feel 100%, but I soldiered on a little bit and I started editing my stuff. And and you guys know how it is. Holidays just get in the way. It was the busiest part of my job are the holidays. I have 13 clients who have multiple children, and I am tasked to deliver presents to them. And those visits usually take a lot longer, and they're a lot better. They're the best visits I'll do all year. I'm not complaining. Believe me, it's the best part of my job. Being able to provide kids with presents is the best part of my 9 to 5, and I enjoy doing that, and I love doing it. But unfortunately, it takes up a lot of time and it takes up a lot of me. So I wasn't able to really get into editing. So I said, you know what? It's fine. When Christmas comes around, I'm gonna have like a 4-day week. Inigo Montoya, what's up, man? Yeah, the audio is finally working. I went back to the old laptop. We're in business. So due to that, all of that going on, I was like, I'm not going to have a lot of time, but I'm going to have a couple of days off over the holidays and I'll edit then. And right after Christmas, man, I just wasn't feeling myself. Sore throat, just, congestion, all this other kind of stuff. I get sick during the holidays almost every year. So I said, okay, it's the flu. I'm going to be sick. This sucks. Let it be. Right. Right after the new year, I felt absolutely horrible. And sure enough, this past Tuesday, if you're watching live or, you can see the date on this thing. If you're not, I unfortunately tested positive for COVID. It has been 2 years since this pandemic has been going on, and I have been clear for 2 full years. So imagine my shock when I've done nothing different and everything's been okay, to going out and getting a test after testing negative twice, by the way, prior that I tested positive. It's unfortunate and it sucked. It really did. It wasn't cool. Inigo, it's just becoming a normal part of life, and the testing process isn't a pain, except for when I was trying to test during the holidays to make sure that I was safe for when my grandmother came up here, because there were no tests and all the testing sites here where I am were all gone, and everything. It was a pain and it was a struggle, but I got through it. I wound up being able to test negative all throughout the holidays. But sure enough, I tested positive. I had 2 really very rough days, and now since then I'm starting to feel better. But as you can hear in me and even see, as I'm looking at myself on here, I don't even look good, because I don't feel good. Still, I'm getting better. I'm hoping that by tomorrow when I test again, I'll test negative. And yeah, Inigo, it's going to get to that point. It's going to be just like, it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere, and we're going to probably have to get vaccinated almost every year against COVID, like we get vaccinated every year against the flu. It might be like one of those things that happens. And look, at the end of the day, I don't I never thought I was going to get it. I've done really well without getting it the entire time. I thought I wasn't going to get it the entire time, and then I did. Um, and if me being vaccinated helped me in any way, if it made it less, I don't know, if it made the symptoms less, strenuous than they usually are, then thank God I got that shot, because for the 24 hours that I was really sick, it was just horrible. Um, I work remotely, so I didn't even take a day off of work. I was just in pain and shaking and in chills and trying to do the best that I could for a couple of days. But I'm over the hump and I'm better now. I mean, as you can see, this isn't my usual, attire. That's why the cameras kind of focus a little bit higher than usual. Usually I have it back a little further. I usually have a wrestling shirt on. I didn't even have like the process and the capacity to get up and get dressed this morning to do any of this, to make this special. But I miss you guys. I really do. And I was really hoping that, I was hoping that there wasn't going to be any audio issues, because if there wasn't any audio issues, this would have been a lot easier. I would have had about 4 or 5 of you in here, and I would have been able to kind of get into a lot of wrestling related stuff in the limited amount of time that I'm going to be on. But what I really wanted to do is just update you guys more or less on everything that's been going on. So obviously I've been sick, and that's been the reason why I've been almost off the grid for a little while. Normally I would even hit up Dave on a Monday and be like, "Hey man, I know, we can do this virtually, so let's see if we can do this." And I haven't been physically able to do so. What I can tell you is this. First, like I said earlier, I have a 3-part video in the can, shot and ready to go. I just have to edit. I'm going to try to start feeling better. It's just the two of us, Inigo. Hopefully we get more people in here. It'd be awesome if we do over the next couple of minutes. If not, I'll probably cut it a little bit short and really try to schedule out my next one to kind of get everybody talking, because there's a lot of things I really want to talk about. A lot of things happening in wrestling right now that I really want to get into. So just to put like the finishing touches on what's going on here, the idea now is to try to do a weekly stream. In my personal life, one of the major things that are going on is that I'm in the process of moving also, which has been a strenuous kind of a thing to go through. So the idea is get the move done, get my apartment set up, and then bang, here I am, and I'm able to now come and live stream whenever, hopefully like a weekly thing. All right, Ben Espinosa, what's up, buddy? Yes, the audio is finally good. We're finally in business here. So the idea is that I will try to maybe do a weekly solo stream. I want to do once a week, every week with you guys, and have it be off the Dave Knows Wrestling, brand, and put it back onto mine. I know this is something that we were doing for a while. Over the pandemic, and even before that, the year prior, we were doing like at least once or twice a month. I was doing these, and they're always fun, and I always have a good time. And I want to expand the idea of what these live streams are, and I'm open for any and all suggestions that anyone has. So if you guys want to comment and leave some comments on the bottom of this video of what live streams you guys might want to do, maybe some watch alongs, maybe some maybe I'll have some guests come back in. Maybe I'll have Dave, pull Dave into one of my live streams. Maybe I'll have Tamara come back. I have a couple of my friends who might want to come back. I know that Andre was on Dave's stream with me a while ago, and I'd like to get Andre back on once things get a little bit more safer and everybody is, cool with being able to be around things. I like doing my live streams, with my guests in person. It makes it a lot more personable and a lot more fun, and I think it makes it better for the viewer. So the goal is that I will be setting up in my apartment my own studio where I can come to you guys every week and live stream and make my own videos. So I don't have to depend upon going to Dave's places and doing that kind of stuff, and really just be able to get this channel off the ground this year and do a little bit better. So the idea is to now, once a week, try to get on and do some of these live streams. I'm not a big fan of live streaming on the weekend. This is just the first day I felt well enough to do one of these. And even in doing so, it's, this whole COVID thing just isn't, it really isn't a joke. I'm still like already short of breath just talking for 15 minutes. So it's I might take like a full week just to get myself like completely better and back to where I was, and then hopefully after that, and my voice comes back because you can see that's not strong either. I'll be able to come to you guys and do this weekly. We'll set a day where Dave doesn't ever do live streams, whatever day that is, and I think Wednesday was like the pretty good day, and that'll be like my day. Well, I'll come to you guys every Wednesday. We'll do a live stream for an hour, and that'll be that. The other thing is this. I want to expand my horizons on my videos. The blind reaction to terrible matches is not a bad idea, Inigo. That's actually pretty funny. I wanted to give her a taste of all the good stuff before I start going to the bad and obscure, but that just might be a really fun idea. Hey, Muhammad, how are you, buddy? Nice to see you, man. It's been a while. I'm doing all right, hanging in there. Just trying to come to you guys and not like passed out in the middle of this, because of the whole COVID mess that I'm in the middle of right now. But I'm doing pretty good. I missed you too, man. I really did. I missed all of you guys. I really wish that, I would have been able to do this during the week where I know that a lot more people are available to sit around and watch a live stream, not a Saturday at 1:00 in the afternoon Eastern time here, where I know a lot of people are probably out and busy. It's been a real long time, and I'm sorry. I apologize for that, but there's been a reason. There's been a lot of reasons why. The good news is that once I am moved out and I am in my new apartment and I am 100% and things are okay, I will be filming content weekly because I will have my girlfriend there to shame me if I don't. I'm going to make sure that she holds me to all of this. I'm going to try to get Dave to come down to my apartment to do live streams on my channel and on his. I'm going to try to, I'm really going to try to do more. And I hope you guys will stick with me this year. It's going to get off to a rough start with everything going on right now, with the whole COVID mess, with the move, with everything. But once I'm settled, I really want to make this channel the best it possibly can be. I really want 2022 to be that that year that we take off. Muhammad, anytime you're able to be here, it's always a pleasure and it's always an honor, and I appreciate it. So, Ben, thank you for asking, because now we can really try to get into the meat and potatoes. I don't even know if I want to sit there and watch Giant Gonzalez matches. Whether or not I want to make her watch them is even worse. So 2022 has been off to a rough start, and it's not just been off to a rough start for me getting COVID, breaking my glasses, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see the tape on the side of these and the fact that they're lopsided, but yeah, 2022 has not been a fun year for me thus far, but I'm here and I'm ready to talk about some wrestling. So let's dig into it. For the next maybe about 10-15 minutes, I'll probably be able to really go strong. If we get more people in here, maybe I'll go a little longer. So to start off, the first question we had: what are your thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble news that broke last night on SmackDown? Perfect way to start this stream off, Ben Espinoza. Mickie James is in the WWE Royal Rumble. The current Impact Women's Champion is in the Royal Rumble, and to be completely honest, I love it. I love the fact that WWE reached out. I love the fact that Mickie James and WWE were able to come to an agreement. I mean, we all know the way she left wasn't fun. And there were a couple of months of her taking very harsh hits about the company on social media. But WWE obviously holds her in high enough of a regard to understand that she is a generational talent. She's one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. And her being in the Royal Rumble is a big positive. Give me 1 second. I'm going to throw on some lights. Yeah, that makes things a little bit better. Let me point this one in my direction. All right. I don't look so bad now. So I love this. What I don't love, and I think you guys are going to know exactly where I'm going to get into with this, the immediate reaction of the internet wrestling community was Oh my God, the Forbidden Door is open. WWE gonna, open the Forbidden Door, getting Impact people in their company and stuff like that. Just even if it's for the Royal Rumble. Oh, the Forbidden Door. Look, let's just start off with this. There is no such thing as a Forbidden Door. Mickie James, while being the Impact Champion, has an open contract to compete basically wherever she wants. We already know that she works for the NWA. We know that she's been working with Impact. We know that she's been doing other things. I believe she's even done some work with Ring of Honor. Mickie James being on a one-night WWE pay-per-view. Thank you, Muhammad. I'm trying. I'm getting over it. I'm almost there. I'm on the other side. I'm on the better side. So probably another couple of days and I'll be completely kicked of the whole mess. I hope I'm going to take a test tomorrow. And if I come back negative, then life can start getting back to, to normal. I haven't seen anybody in 5 days. And of course, this happened right before I moved out. So I'm still upstairs. As you can obviously see the big green wall in the background. I'm still up in my, in my parents' house, which sucks because now I'm up here and I really don't want to go downstairs, but it is what it is. AJ Envoy, welcome, buddy. It's been such a long time. How are you, man? I've missed you. We might have headed for a second quarantine here in Saudi. Yeah, to be completely honest, Muhammad, and to sidetrack very quickly. I think that the lockdown might be the best thing for everyone. I think that right now that we here in the U.S. should go into a lockdown. 2 weeks, no one goes around each other. The only people that go out are emergency workers, emergency services, people who work in places, not even restaurants, people who just work in supermarkets where people can buy food, and that's it. No one else goes out. No one goes near anybody. We have specific dates where certain people can go to stores to pick up groceries, and that's it. I know that sounds harsh, but you know what? The only way that we know that this spreads is by human interaction. If all people are only interacting within people in their own household, that'll really limit the numbers and maybe knock it down and make it, less the contagion a little bit less than what it is now, because it's just as contagious, even more so at points as the flu, and that's the last thing that anybody needs. It's the last thing I'm going to say about everything when it comes to COVID. But that's just my opinion. If you guys have different opinions, it's fine. You guys are allowed to your own. But I just want to get rid of this so that I can, walk outside and be like a normal human being. But that's just me. Oh, AJ Envoy, congratulations that you got a new job. I'm very happy for you. I'll try to do my videos around your work schedule. But seriously, back to the whole wrestling portion of this whole thing, which is why we're here. Before I get sidetracked again and start, talking about things that we don't care about, or that we do care about that are important, but aren't the reason why we're here. So the Mickie James being in the Royal Rumble, I think is a great thing. I think it's great that the WWE opened up their doors to women outside of the WWE. And let's face it, there aren't that many women left on the WWE roster. Even if they pulled up everybody from NXT, where where they have other women that they can put on into the Rumble, they still might not have enough talent. So the idea of pulling out and going and getting women that will make a difference, like Lita, like the Bellas, like Mickie James. They reached out to someone like Summer Rae, Michelle McCool. These women are were stars of the WWE in the past, and we also know that Beth Phoenix and Maurice are both wrestling at the Royal Rumble, so that might take them out of the idea of being in the actual Rumble. We know that there's going to more than likely be 1 or 2 women's championship matches at the Rumble. When that happens, we'll know that those specific stars won't be in the Rumble either. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the whole thing about the Forbidden Door that's been pissing me off is that now immediately wrestling fans there, and of course when I say wrestling fans, I mean these moron mark internet wrestling fans that are immediately like, well, it took the AEW to open up the forbidden door in order for all this to happen. Shut the fuck up. It had nothing to do with what AEW did. WWE is reaching out to old stars because that's what they do every year at the Royal Rumble. This isn't the first year that they've done this. They've done it every year since the inception of the Women's Royal Rumble. There have always been legends in there. I don't understand how we've gotten to this point where everybody is just going to give AEW all the credit in the world for all the things that they do. And when they do great things, they deserve the credit that they do. But when WWE does something, it's the immediate reaction is, oh, look how desperate they are now. You don't think that the Forbidden Door wasn't some sort of a desperate ploy for the AEW to ensure that they had New Japan Pro Wrestling fans tune into their show? It's all for ratings. Everything a wrestling company does is for ratings. So it's bullshit for people to sit there and talk about WWE and say, oh, they're only doing this for ratings and to get, the internet wrestling community back on them. No, they do this every year. This is pro wrestling. It's what's happened all the time. Base, what's going on, man? How are you? Long time no see. So Muhammad, that's the other thing. We talk about the Forbidden Door, and you asked that. Yes, Ben. By the way, I would love to see Victoria back in the Royal Rumble, but we've already seen WWE and AEW work together. Chris Jericho was on the Broken Skull sessions. We've already seen that Tony Khan has come out and tweeted about WWE contacting AEW and asking for certain talent to use in non-wrestling capacities, which means that they're probably filming other documentaries, which I think they're probably filming maybe another segment of that Ruthless Aggression documentary set, which, by the way, I finished part 2 in like a day and a half, and it was absolutely fantastic. Inigo, yeah, I mean, as of right now, if that's the case, sure, but at the end of the day, when they had the 40-man Royal Rumble, they had like 5 guest spots in that one too that weren't WWE contracted guys. They do this every year. This is just something that they always do. And right now they have a weakness in their women's division, and they have to plug the holes with people that they think that will get people talking. I think that we're in store for a lot more surprises. I think that, we're going to get some other women that we maybe didn't think that we were going to get, that they didn't announce because they announced some of the bigger women that they wanted to put in there. We know Trisha's retired, so we probably know that Trish isn't going to be in it. But I bet that there are some other ones that we haven't seen that are going to be really big surprises. And to be honest with you, it's the Rumble. It's fine. If we have the representation of every main roster woman is on there, and it's in the Rumble, means that they get their fair shot at being the women's world champion at WrestleMania. It's fine for legends. So Muhammad, a lot of people say that, but the Ruthless Aggression documentary was absolutely fantastic, and the only history they can rewrite is their own. So, it is what it is. I mean, if that's your prerogative, that's fine, but I think that the best thing that WWE does is their documentaries. The 24/7 series that was on the network, now on Peacock, has been phenomenal, and for every episode that I've watched. There's a formerly known as documentary that they did with a bunch of wrestlers that were in WWE at the time, one of them being the late John Huber, Brody Lee. They were fantastic. I think the WWE does really well when it comes to that kind of stuff. And yeah, sometimes, yes, they rewrite history, but history is always going to be rewritten by the victor. It's just the nature of the beast. AJ, I think the Rumble is in like 2 weeks now. I think it's at the end of the month, the last week of the month, weekend, whatever. Yeah, Inigo. I mean, I think the WWE fiercely apologized for that, and I think that we've gotten to a point now where WWE understands that what they did was wrong. They fired the guy that did that. And I think that they've let bygones be bygones. I don't think Mickie was as mad as she was. I think that you get fired, and your immediate reaction is to be really, really angry. When your stuff then gets sent in a trash bag home, your other reaction is to get really, really angry. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, they've mended fences, and I'm happy that that's the case. So a couple of other things that have happened, that I really wanted to talk about. So, what's everybody's opinion about this whole Tony Khan tweet? I want to know what you guys think before I get into everything. And Base, you're 100% right. That happens all the time. If Ultimate Warrior came back, if Jeff Jarrett came back, I mean, these are guys that, literally quit in front of Vince's face, held Vince up for money. Everybody's coming back. Hogan tried, it was on trial, going against Vince McMahon, yeah. Yes, AJ, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'd love to hear what your guys' opinions are on what happened, on the fact that on Swole's comments. I'd love to know what you guys thought about what Tony said in response, and I'd love to know what your guys' feelings are that Tony Khan has not yet apologized nor taking down that tweet as of yet. I think this was the biggest story in pro wrestling, and to this point, it still is, because if you go on any tweet that Tony Khan has made since that day, there are still multiple people that are just writing apologize on the bottom of it, and I think that a lot of people are really angry about the way that Tony Khan has handled this whole situation. Seeing the internet's reaction has been one thing. Seeing the reaction of people who I actually care about and whose opinions that I think actually matter, completely different side of the story. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about the whole situation with with Swole and Tony Khan. All right, AJ, here we go. Well, I think Tony Khan comes off as reactionary. He's the owner of AEW. Why is he tweeting stuff like that? Best to leave it to a PR team. But I think Swole was talking out of her ass. Okay, that's fair. That's your opinion, and I appreciate it. Here's what I think. I think that despite a lot of people talking about, the fact that they think that, and AJ, you're not alone with the way that people have reacted about the way Swole went about what she did. Here's the thing. I'm gonna veer off this path very quickly, but I promise you that I'm gonna veer right back on it. When I don't know why you didn't say anything wrong there, Inigo. Tony Khan was an idiot for tweeting that, and the fact he refuses to back down is pretty disgraceful. Agreed. So here's my opinion. A while ago, Tony Khan should have honestly not responded to my opinion, which he said wasn't that bad. I kind of lean towards where you are a little bit more. About 3 years ago now, that's when AEW started. And the one thing since the inception of AEW that I have had an issue with since day one is their constant shot taking at WWE. Now, when they do it on TV, it's that's them doing what they want to do. We know AEW talent has their freedom to do so, and in certain respects it's okay. In other respects, I think it's just stupid and it's just done for a cheap pop. And at this point, I think that continually doing this over and over again, it's just going to make everybody be like, "Oh, here we go, another AEW promo where they had to mention WWE because they don't have anything else without them." I don't usually, I get upset about that because that's people, on the roster doing that themselves. What I usually don't get mad about is when Tony Khan does interviews and he's talking about WWE, because 99.9% of the time, Tony Khan is asked for his opinion about something that has been done in WWE, or they've been asked. Punk does it all the time. He's actually the most egregious out of everyone. But I mean, that's been Punk's gimmick since he was in WWE. Hating WWE has been Punk's gimmick since he was a WWE roster member. Whatever. Look, it's not like I dislike CM Punk. As a matter of fact, I just ordered a CM Punk AEW t-shirt. I like Punk. I've been a fan of Punk since the beginning. I've been a fan of Punk since Ring of Honor. I'm never not going to be a fan of CM Punk. Punk's going to speak his mind, and it is what it is. The constant shot to WWE, though, is just, that's who Punk is. And if Punk was the only person doing it, I'd be like, okay, whatever, it's his gimmick. But everyone does it, and that's where it gets to me. It's too much. But I usually, didn't go too harsh on Tony Khan when he did it, because for the most part, Tony Khan gets asked about the WWE. I know that, for all you are probably thinking, okay, where's he going with this? This is where I switch right back into the situation at hand. Swole has a podcast. She was asked about her experience at AEW. She spoke her truth. Now, what AJ, you said that maybe, you felt like maybe she was talking out of her ass. Maybe to some people that was the case. But in my opinion, Swole is just speaking the truth that she feels. She feels that there is not a heavy amount of Black representation in AEW. And that's the big thing. A lot of people then immediately went, talked about just minority relations in general. And Tony Khan's initial thing was in his tweet, there are 2 brown people that own AEW. This has nothing to do with that. What Swole was talking about was specifically how she felt black athletes were treated in AEW. It had nothing to do with Latino, had nothing to do with any other kind of Hispanic, nothing to do with white, it had nothing to do with brown, it had nothing to do with Asian. It was specifically about how she felt black wrestlers were treated in AEW. Specifically. Immediately, the issue then became a race issue, and then Twitter exploded with the idea of the Nyla Rose was, a former women's champion. Half of the women's champions have been Asian. The current, at the time, I know that they aren't now, but the current thing is, the current tag team champions are the Lucha Bros. There's absolutely, look, and that may be fine, but from where Swole sat in her personal feeling, she felt that the black community was not properly represented within AEW. And it's hard to argue that they aren't treated, perfectly or extremely well. But it's also hard to argue that they aren't doing as well as WWE has been, where for almost a full calendar year, there has been at least one black wrestler in a world championship match for almost a full calendar year. And that's not even just in the men's division. We're talking about in the women's division too. But, let's face it, WWE over the past, 2-3 years have heavily pushed guys like Kofi Kingston, Bobby Lashley, Bianca Belair, Big E. Xavier Woods wins the King of the Ring. There are a lot of black wrestlers in WWE who are doing exceptionally well, and the same really can't be said about AEW. It's been a lot of start and stop pushes for a lot of people, for a lot of black wrestlers in AEW. The first one that comes to my mind is Powerhouse Hobbs. Brought in, looked really, really, really strong, loses to CM Punk, and then, for the most part, has almost been an afterthought. Scorpio Sky wins the giant Sonic ring. What is that? The brass ring. It looked like the thing that Sonic collects in the games. Whatever. Loses to Darby. We get promises of this big singles push, and then just gets put into a tag team again. Okay, here's my thing, Albert. She's brought up diversity. I've seen people in my black community say that they care about diversity, but it's often only brought up when things don't go their way. It's easy to make anything a race issue these days and times. They're not coming from a genuine place. I don't think that Swole wasn't coming from a disingenuous place, because she immediately, remember, in the same interview, she immediately said that Tony Khan's one of the best people she's ever met. He takes care of his talent. He's one of the best people she's ever worked for. She feels that she had a voice. She feels that he represented her well. She said a lot of complimentary things about that. I think that it was specifically, she just felt this was a race thing, that there weren't, a lot of black wrestlers at the top of the card. To be completely right, there isn't. And Inigo Montoya, you're right. There isn't a black main eventer in AEW right now. And maybe that doesn't have to do with the fact of, them not wanting to push someone. Maybe they just don't feel like they have the right person to push to the top of the card yet. And I understand that. But that's also AEW's fault of not taking, someone who they felt could be a star and pushing them and making them that way. Who knows? But you can't look at AEW's top stars and not see that there's some semblance of an issue when it comes to representation in the black community. There are always going to be more white wrestlers than black, and talent should be the most important thing. Is Big Swole someone? See, here's the thing, AJ. This is where I get where like, for me, it doesn't make any sense to me. Everybody is now talking about the fact that Swole wasn't that good of a wrestler. I don't understand where this is coming from. One of the first AEW matches I ever saw had Swole in it. And I remember seeing Swole wrestle, and I went, why isn't this woman being pushed to the top? We also forget that Britt Baker's ascent to being a great heel wouldn't have had the same amount of oomph as it has right now if it wasn't for her feud with Swole while she was injured. Swole carried a huge feud without being able to work with Britt Baker, because Britt was so good and Swole was a great foil. I don't think this is anything You can't take anything away from Swole's talent. Swole is talented as hell. And the fact that maybe her wrestling skills haven't been as sharp has to A, do with the fact she has Crohn's disease and she's not able to be in the ring as often as maybe she would like. But also B, when was the last time she was on television? When did she get a chance to work? And don't ever come at me about the fact that AEW fans have always been haven't been behind her. Remember, one of the last major pay-per-views that AEW had at Full Gear, we saw that Swole was in the Battle Royal, and she got one of the loudest reactions when she came out in the Battle Royal. It's complete BS to say that the fans thought that her wrestling skills were waning, because when she came out, there were Swole chants. And by the end of that Battle Royal, when Swole got eliminated in a very, very short stint, which, by the way, throwing this out there, it is completely well known that Tony Khan booked that women's Battle Royal from start to finish. Swole was in there for, if not the least amount, one of the shortest amount of times in that Battle Royal. Yet, when Swole came out, she got one of the biggest reactions that fans were chanting for her. And remember, there's not a lot of time in these Joker's Wild Battle Royals to get behind one specific superstar, because people are coming out every 5 seconds. It's, okay, Swole comes out, boom, she gets in. Okay, this next person comes out, boom, she gets in. And remember, it's 4 people basically at one time. Swole got a huge reaction. So the fans didn't turn on her. It looks like Tony Khan did. And here's the thing. When Vince McMahon chooses to fire somebody, and everybody's like, I don't understand. That person was so talented. They were so great. How did Vince not see it? How come when Tony Khan does it, and you had a whole bunch of fans over there supporting Swole, wanting to see more of her, people that were in her corner, when Tony Khan does it, everybody's just okay with the fact that Tony Khan lost faith and wasn't a fan in somebody? That's totally okay and a valid reason for Tony Khan to let somebody go. But when WWE releases somebody, it's Vince McMahon's the biggest pile of shit on the planet. It's a bullshit double standard, once again, that these AEW fans are more and more in Tony Khan's corner, no matter how negative he can be about stuff. Now, take all of that off the table really quick. All of it off the table real fast. Let's pretend that none of that happened, right? Let's pretend that Tony Khan didn't call Swole a great wrestler a year ago and say that she was a valued member of the division, and now all of a sudden he said that her wrestling wasn't good, and that's why he chose not to renew her contract. Meanwhile, Swole said she was the one who decided that she didn't want to re-sign. By the way, let's take all of that off the table. AEW has finally come to terms with the release of one of their wrestlers. This has been something that's been, it's something that's been going on for a pretty decent amount of time. In WWE, if WWE releases somebody, it's the worst thing in the world. The first controversial time that AEW has ever released anybody, the fans immediately back the company. Now you will never get WWE, yeah, I'm almost there. I'm almost there, Base, because this really has been pissing me off. And it's something I haven't been able to really talk about because I haven't had the platform up until now because I've been sick. At the end of the day, this is not a good look for the wrestlers in AEW. And if I'm a professional wrestler and I'm in AEW, and I immediately see that all of my fans that are AEW loyalists will turn on me at the drop of a hat if I talk negatively about the company, that's not a company I really want to work for. Meanwhile, in the WWE, hey, what's going on, man? How are you? Andy Powers is here. In the WWE, you can shit talk WWE when you leave all the time. No one in WWE is going to shit talk you back. And then if they have a spot for you, they're going to call you and bring you back. We've seen it before. We just talked about Mickie James being in the Royal Rumble. We just talked about how everybody talks about the forbidden door being open with AEW and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the Forbidden Door, the first time it was really open was when AEW and WWE did business together, and Chris Jericho was on the Broken Skull sessions. We forget about all that kind of stuff, but we immediately just want to go to the negative. The fact of the matter is that if you take away all of the stuff that I just said, though, Tony Khan tweeting what he tweeted was the most immature, thin-skinned thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Somebody felt that they weren't being represented, that their race wasn't being represented in a proper way in AEW. And his immediate reaction was to reactionarily insult that person and then talk shit about our wrestling skills. Like, you're the owner of a company. People are going to say negative things about it. But this isn't the first time this has happened. How about the Tony Khan Fox News tweets where Fox News just said, hey, AEW's ratings aren't that great. And he flips his lid and then tweets at Fox News for the next week and a half about the fact of AEW's ratings and how the TNT network loves their ratings. Dude, you gotta grow a set of thicker skin. People are gonna come after your company. People are gonna come after your booking. People are gonna come after your representation. People are gonna come after everything. They've been doing it to Vince McMahon for the entirety of Vince McMahon's life and ownership of WWE. It's gonna happen. You need base. Thank you, because I was gonna get there. You need somebody to control what you say online. You want to know why Vince McMahon doesn't go off and tweet about shit? Because remember the time where Vince McMahon has had negative things in the media? We still don't hear the end of the Bob Costas interview. We still don't hear Bret screwed Bret. That's the last time Vince McMahon has gone on record to shit talk one of his wrestlers. He went on TV and he looked the worst. So bad that they created a heel character. Because Vince looked like shit so bad for going out and shit talking one of the people that was his, that as a lieutenant, it was one of his soldiers that had been there and had been at the forefront of his wars since the beginning. Bret had been there since the 80s, and he shit talked Bret on the way out, and it made Vince look like shit. Do you really think that Tony Khan doesn't look like shit when he shit talks one of his wrestlers on the way out? It looks terrible. I don't care if she was the absolute worst wrestler on the planet. You wish them well on their future endeavors. You let it go because they can be miserable all they want because you know your truth and you have a big fan base that's going to back you up and back up whatever you have to say. There's no reason for Tony Khan to get mad about that. And the fact that that tweet is still up and people have given Tony Khan a pass because you know the fact that when bad tweets happen, the immediate thing is take it down, take it down, take it down. That tweet is still up. That means that he completely still believes what he said, and he's refused to apologize. And the wrestling media has not pushed on this button at all. Even Sean Ross Sapp, who a lot of people dislike, said that the immediate thing that he would have done if he got an interview with Tony Khan is he would have asked him about the Swole interview. He has done media about 5 times since that interview. Busted Open, Z100, the Wrestling Podcast, and a bunch of other stuff. And not one time has anyone asked him about this. It's the biggest story in wrestling media, and no one's asking him about it? Bullshit. That means he's gagging them and telling them, don't fucking ask me about this shit. That means that he knows he's wrong, refuses to apologize, and no one's calling him out. It's complete hypocrisy and bullshit, because if Vince McMahon said the exact same thing, there would be people outside of Stamford with fucking picket signs. It's bullshit that wrestling fans allow themselves to get so deep into this minutia, but when it gets to a point where their favorite gets criticized, all of a sudden it's quite okay for them to do whatever the fuck they want, but it's not okay for the same person in the exact same position to do it. And that, my friends, is the wrestling fan toxicity and hypocrisy that exists. You know who else is a complete pile of shit? People like Dave Meltzer for not trying to get Tony Khan onto the Observer podcast and ask him about this shit. See, Henny, he did. He apologized to Leo Rush behind closed doors, not in person, and he didn't make a public statement apologizing to everybody else that he offended. Do it. Be a man. Apologize. I will figure out a way. If I don't care what it takes, I will figure out a way to do a fucking full-blown interview with Tony Khan on this platform if I had the ability. And the first thing I would ask him is about that. And I don't even care if they said we'll cancel your YouTube channel and we'll never make sure that you ever make it in the industry again. You won't get hired by anybody else. Fine, fuck it. Let me be the scapegoat. I'd much rather get an answer from the guy than let this go, because it's bullshit. There's no reason why an owner of a company should get away with doing something like that. No, Inigo Montoya, I think the Urban Meyer thing was his dad. And if that's the case, his dad is just as guilty. TK and the condom is quickly to respond to any criticism against AEW. Yeah, exactly, Henny. You're 100% right. Immediately, whenever anybody says anything negative about AEW, it's like these people just swarm in and they're like, no, you can't talk about the Almighty that way. No, fuck that. When they do something wrong, you have to tell them, because as you can see, ratings are dropping. They're dropping across the board for wrestling, but they're also dropping with AEW, which means that fans who aren't vocal and on the internet aren't liking what AEW is doing. And those are the people they need to reach out to, because they need to get them back, and they need to tell them to get all their friends to start watching, because if they don't, they're going to continually go down in the ratings. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. Oh, sweep the leg. How are you, man? I haven't seen you guys in such a long time. It's good to see some of you guys. There's a lot of non-black wrestlers who can be world champs too. Yeah, look, there is. I'm not saying that Tony Khan needs to immediately put a world title on a black wrestler just to prove that he's not racially insensitive. But damn, give some of these guys a friggin', just a couple of programs. It's like, and that's the thing. The funny thing is that, like, AEW does this cyclical booking thing. It has been a little bit, Sweep, and I'm glad to see you here. Albert, I've had a pilgrimage through life in the past few months, and I've come to realize that there's one general truth. There's bullcrap afoot in the wrestling world, always and forever. EJK, I couldn't agree with you more. It'll never stop. But AEW does this thing, this cyclical booking thing that they do, and it's like, okay, we're going to put, let's Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky is going to break off from SCU. He's going to become a singles wrestler. He's going to break out. He's going to lose, and then we have nothing for him. The fact that when WWE would send people to catering, people would sit there and go, oh my God. Can you believe that? Look how talented this wrestler is. And they're just sitting there and catering. Meanwhile, AEW has had, Sonny Kiss hasn't been on a fucking Dynamite in a full year. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela just had a huge feud. Does anybody know about it? No, because it wasn't on TV. They were in a tag team, they broke up, and it wasn't even mentioned on Dynamite. It's on Dark. And guess what? Dark isn't on television. Just as much as I don't count Main Event, I don't count Dark. And I don't count Dark Elevation, because they don't count. They're not on TV. You have 3 hours of TV. You have 150 or 160 wrestlers under your contract. You can't possibly get them all in there, and you keep signing more. Sooner or later, this is just going to come back to this is just going to be, if WWE was hoarding talent 2 years ago, how the fuck is AEW not hoarding talent right now? Like, I don't understand how wrestling fans think. It's like, it's totally okay that we get to see Malachi Black once a month in AEW, but it wasn't okay that he was out for like 4 months in WWE. Like, if we get to see him once a month, it's fine. If WWE put him on TV once a month, can you imagine the negative reaction? It would have been just as bad as him not being on TV for 4. Lunacy. Absolute hypocrisy. So the Powerhouse Hobbs challenge Hangman or Cody for the belts. He doesn't need to win. Just keep him running at level. Base, that's the thing. Let Hobbs get a title shot. The TNT title can be contended for by anyone, right? That's the gimmick of the belt. That's why, they had Bobby Fish come in and, skip the line, because they have rankings, which for some reason the rankings don't mean jack shit when it comes to one of their titles. So why the fuck do they have them in the first place? But that's a completely different situation for a completely different live stream. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. How about Miro, the best wrestler on television for the longest time in AEW? Where the fuck has Miro been? Like, I don't understand. It's like the guys get like this big long push, they drop a belt, then they disappear. No, Miro should be with the number one contender for the world title right now. I would love to have seen a Hangman Miro program. And don't get me wrong, I love Bryan Danielson, top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. I love Bryan Danielson. I wouldn't have had him challenge for the world title this fast. Just me. Henny, no, I don't think that TK put the title on Jade just to spite Swole. I think that Jade was winning that no matter what. And shout out to my boy Mark Sterling. On fire right now. Albert, did you watch the return of NWA Power on YouTube? Sweep, I actually have not watched anything that the NWA has done since their first show. It's hard. I'm really trying to keep up with all the wrestling that's on TV. I'm like a year behind on NXT. Like I kind of keep up what's going on, with what's going on currently, but I really do want to watch every episode of the show, and I'm like a year behind. It's been really hard. I do want to watch the NWA, and especially now that Matt Cardona is there, and he's one of my favorite wrestlers, ever. I do want to see, what he's going to do there. I'm probably going to try to get back into it. Henny, I wish I knew where Brian Cage was. But remember, the immediacy of him and his wife saying, hey, they don't really put Brian Cage on TV. The AEW fans all turned on him. It's like, hey, I'm not getting my fair shake. Hey, fuck you, buddy. You can't say anything negative about Tony Khan or AEW. What is wrong with you? Oh, Inigo, I did not know he got hurt. That's fine then. I have absolutely, I did not know he got hurt. That's totally fine. That's not on AEW. I did not know he got hurt at Full Gear. Let's see. Shap, what's up, buddy? How are you? I knew I missed something. I was trying to figure out what it was. Brian has been doing great work lately. I do agree that Maitland don't push him to the title scene right away, but no, sweet. Don't get me wrong. Every match that Bryan Danielson has had since he's been in AEW has been phenomenal. I love Daniel Bryan, and I do look. And by the same point, base. I kind of disagree. I think that the booking against Bryan Danielson was actually good. I think it established Hangman as, he couldn't beat him in an hour, but then he beat him clean one-on-one in a half an hour. I'm fine with it. I think they did right by what they did, because Bryan put him over at the end, and that's fair. Oh God, yeah, Lance Archer not being around, complete bullshit. Like, where are these guys? And that's the thing. This roster is I think that's what Tony Khan's thinking. If I keep adding new people, people will forget the people that I'm not showcasing. Sweep, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. For me, with Punk, even with him wrestling, it still remains to be seen. I still think he's nowhere near the level that he was when he was full time. But he did take 7 years off, and he is older, and it's a lot. So But I feel like Punk maybe slightly lost a step. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just me being harsh. I thought it was okay after that sweep. Well, either way, even if he's just getting time out for that, but that's the thing. That's another thing about AEW. I can't keep track of how many wrestlers are hurt. And this is the thing. Everybody keeps saying the WWE style is such bullshit. They shouldn't put things on there. People don't get injured as often as you would think when they have all these restrictions on them. Well, AEW is further proving that that's completely bullshit, because half of their roster is injured half the time. I don't think there's been like a 4-month period where either Phoenix or Penta weren't hurt. Yeah, but that's the thing, AJ. Give us different stuff. I want to see the bigger guys on TV. I don't want to see, guys who are 220 pounds have matches against each other in every single segment. Give me more. Just put him over at their pay-per-view. Wide draw, just Brian lose clean immediately after normally. Here's the thing. Because it was Brian and because it was Hangman, it actually shows that Hangman could hang with Bryan for an hour, and that's a big thing for Hangman. Because Hangman's still young. He's unproven. He's not Kenny Omega. We haven't seen 5-star matches out of him. Seeing Hangman do this has actually been good booking, in my opinion, from AEW. I'm not going to shit on AEW and shit on everything they do. They do book things well. I think they're booking Hangman really well, except for the fact that he didn't have a match for a month when he had the title. That's stupid, but that's just me. That's the spot heavy AEW side that leads to interest. Yeah, exactly. If you're and that's the other thing. You don't have to do these things in every match. Save some of these high spots for the pay-per-views. Save the riskier stuff for the pay-per-views. Don't do them in every match. It's ridiculous. You're going to get yourselves hurt. And then what? And now, AEW is missing one of their top tag teams because Phoenix is hurt. And thank God he didn't break anything. Right. Christian Cage comes in, the big fanfare, and that's the big thing. This is my big thing. He beats Kenny Omega for the Impact title. Everybody's like, this is such a great thing for pro wrestling. And then he fades into obscurity. I don't understand it. Well, AJ, you're not wrong. You're 100% not wrong there. So here's the thing. They did. They basically gave them their overtime. It was just a couple of weeks later, and they gave them a half hour. And Hangman won. I think AEW's main problem is that they have too many freaking wrestlers. You can't expect to have a consistently good product when you only have 100%. And you want to talk about WWE not doing everything that they can to make it the next megastar? AEW is doing even worse by force feeding us all these other different people, while the big guys who may be getting ratings might not be on TV every week. Oh yeah, no, Henny completely. Jay Lethal has been an afterthought. Well, sweep, that's 100% true. But I just think Tony Khan shouldn't be on television at all. Be an owner. Why do you have to be on TV? Didn't he say he was never going to become an on-screen character? Yet he became an on-screen character during, doing those commercials during the Forbidden Door on Impact. He's been on TV. He cut that horrible, what was it? 9 days! In 9 days! 9 days promo. I mean, it's just, you shouldn't be on TV if you don't know what you're doing. Look, but here's the thing, if I was an owner of a wrestling company, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Fuck yes, I'd be on television. Yeah, damn straight I'd be an on-screen character. That's also because I have acting training. I go, I'm on YouTube all the time. I've had broadcasting training. I know how to be on camera. I know how to do it. So it's fine for me to do that. TK hasn't proven that he can. Yeah, but AJ, you're right in a way, but Base is also right. With their talent roster, they need more television time. Not dark elevation. Oh, excuse me. Not YouTube, television time. One of AEW's main problems seems like so that they push the wrong people or just let big stars fade into the background. I don't even think that it's that they push the wrong people. I think that they try that everyone's push lasts for a month. It's here's your big story. Here's your arc. Your arc's over. Back to the back of the line. We'll think of something for you in another 3 months when these other 6 talents that haven't been on TV in a month get their shot. The idea that we need to add more TV for mediocre talent when the product isn't scorching hot is a problem. Well, no, AJ, I agree with you there, but they could be scorching hot if they feature the right guys every week and they trim some of the fat off of that roster. Look, I don't like the WWE cut people. I fucking hate that WWE cut Samoa Joe and William Regal. I think it's the dumbest thing you can do. 2 of the guys with the dearth of knowledge that can spread that to almost anybody, you're going to get rid of them. Dumb as fuck. I don't like when wrestlers and talent and roster members and, behind the scenes people lose their jobs. But for AEW, they need to get rid of some of these people because there are just way too many people on that roster. See, EJK, that's actually what I was saying when they made the cuts originally. Remember the last time the WWE had this small of a roster? It was the Attitude Era. They know how to work well with a small roster. Can they do more with it? Absolutely. Are they infallible? Absolutely not. They've been sucking for the longest time. But over the past 2 months, I've actually been impressed. And WWE TV has been a lot better. More television time that people won't want. Well, that's the thing, AJ. You got if you have more TV time, it's for these people. In my opinion, it's for these people that everybody keeps saying that, oh, this person deserves it. Then give them the shot. Let's make if I'm Tony Khan, I'm adding an hour to Rampage, and in that hour, I'm specifically making a list of all the people that the internet believes that deserves like more of a push. And if the ratings are low for that hour, we'll see you somewhere else. I'm sorry, but that's the way it's got to go. 75 people on Twitter have a very loud voice, and they can consistently say things like, and I'm just going to think of a random AEW wrestler, Pac deserves to be put. Oh, fuck, that's actually true. Pac deserves to be pushed to the moon. But if Pac comes out and he wrestles, and for a month he's on Rampage, and he wrestles every month in a match on Rampage, and the ratings keep going lower, I'm sorry. Then we can't keep featuring him because it's just not doing anything. The other thing is that, Henny, I hear that Marco is on the cusp of having his contract not being renewed. But the other big thing, see, AJ, Andrade hasn't been disappointing. Their booking of Andrade has been disappointing. Their booking of Pac has been disappointing. Their booking of Malachi Black has been disappointing. Losing to Cody, then feuding with the Varsity Blondes. Why? He should be a world champion. Why isn't anybody flipping out that when he went to the Raw on the main roster, everybody was flipping out about Malachi Black not being a main player. Now he's in AEW, he's not being a main player. Nobody seems to give a shit. Hosey, what's up, man? Good to see you. Weren't we just talking? Oh, wait. I still have messages for Jose, I didn't read like the last 10 messages on our chat. What were we talking about? Oh, you got the Cody and you got an Omega. I still don't have an Omega figure. I still do not have one. I gotta get one. Oh man. They had a Brit. I need a Brit. But yeah. Yeah, but that's everybody. That's all these big signings that AEW have. They come in with this huge fanfare, and then they fade to obscurity. Adam Cole comes in as like this big announcement, and he's in the background to Daniel Bryan, who debuted on the same night. And well, Jose, you weren't there that night, unfortunately, but two of my other friends were sitting right next to me, and I said, "This is the worst thing that could ever happen to Adam Cole." Oh, hold on, guys. I'm sorry. Just give me one quick second. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm still sick. My mom's at the store. She just wanted to pick some stuff up for me, which I appreciate. So yeah. And that's the thing. It is booking because, AJ, and the bloom is coming off the rose for a lot of these guys in AEW so far. It's an unfortunate situation. Like, I wanted Adam Cole to be a huge player, and instead he's just now reforming his main event stable from NXT, and now he's in the mid card. It's like he went from being the number one guy on the other channel to just being another mid-card guy reforming what he did before. If you didn't like it in NXT and you got tired of NXT, but you're happy to have it rehashed in AEW, it doesn't make sense. Well, Hosey, I'll admit, throwing him off the roof wasn't the greatest thing in the world. I don't think it hurt him that bad. I think the worst thing that they did was change his whole gimmick, changing his theme song, making him wear the long pants, taking away the creaking, tomb thing that he came out in. That's where WWE messed up with him. But when NXT had him, he was booked a lot better in NXT than he is in AEW right now. Base, you might not be wrong. Yeah, that's the thing, AJ. Like Adam Cole went from, look, initially everybody said that Jungle Boy is one of the pillars. They want to push him to the moon at one point. Fine. He comes in, he feuds with Jungle Boy. Great. That's what he wanted to do. That's a guy who he wanted to work with. Great. Give it to him. And now he's feuding with Jake Atlas and Wheeler Yuta. Come on, man. Like, put some goddamn respect on Adam Cole's name. He deserves it. He's one of the best. All right, Hosey, you know what? Let's push away from the AEW talk real quick. And for the next couple of minutes, let's go into WWE and NXT. Because this is another thing that I really wanted to talk about with everyone. And I'm slowly really hearing my voice really starting to get messed up. So I'm going to have to cut this short in a little bit. So, Henny, that's the thing. The whole manager thing was never said to be 100%. That was just somebody saying something that may not have been true. And Adam Cole said he never heard it from them. I don't think the WWE would have made him a manager, especially for Keith Lee, because they were planning on cutting Keith Lee anyway. So I don't think those things were right anyway. AJ, I think that if Darby was feuding with Adam Cole, it would make total sense. He definitely should be doing more. Ooh, happy Mardi Gras. So let's get into NXT. So now the biggest thing on the internet is, can you believe that Vince McMahon ripped everything away from Triple H, building the black and gold brand, and he rips everything that Triple H had, from there away from him? Can you I want to preface something before we get really deep into this. Hey, WG Phil, if that's the way you feel, that's fine. I understand that. For me, I understand it's also, to me, it's also business. And it is what it is. At the end of the day, it sucks to see people lose their jobs, and I don't want to see that. There are a lot of guys that I would prefer, because I am a WWE fan first before AEW, and I know a lot of people aren't. Some people are the other way, but I've always been a WWE fan first. Just going to throw this out there. I want to see my favorites. I want to see them in WWE because I know that I'll get to see them more than I will in AEW. Now, I have not missed the Dynamite. I have missed a lot of Rampages. I haven't seen all of the AEW pay-per-views. Sweep, it's all right. I'm not going to get really deep into the booking of it. I just want to get into the change portion of everything. So, the Black and Gold brand has been my favorite brand of professional wrestling since the original ECW. I loved the Black and Gold brand. It gave, just the memories that I have from seeing it have been phenomenal. Wrestling fans loved NXT, the Black and Gold brand. You know who didn't like the Black and Gold brand? Just about everybody. A very hardcore fan base that WWE has right here at all times loved NXT. Here are some facts about NXT. It never turned a profit. With the exception of the women's division, it never provided WWE with the proper star power that they felt that it should have. It stopped being a developmental program and became the WWE indie promotion. It stopped basing the hires of NXT on who would do well on the main roster and more about who would do well in NXT. And it never made it to the mainstream. They had national television and they couldn't get mainstream with it. They had the WWE's name and the WWE's money and the WWE's backing, and they could not make it. When you're Vince McMahon and you look at it and you see this thing that's hemorrhaging money, and that's fine. You make enough. But then you're getting these guys coming up and you're looking at them and you're going, I see zero appeal in any of these people. I don't think our fan base is going to see any appeal in any of these people. Why do I have this? As much as I love and will go back and rewatch the NXT Black and Gold stuff for years, it never worked. It never worked in the realm of real, of where it really counts. It didn't make money. It didn't make new fans. It didn't bring in new fans. And when AEW debuted, it failed to keep its already existing brand of fans. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people are throwing blame. And this is one thing. Oh, my God. Some of these people on the internet, man, really aggravate me to no end. But, Sweep, yeah, you're not wrong. And AJ, that's the truth. It's the truth. It's 100% the truth. You know it, Boppo. Good to see you, Jim. So, here's the facts. Triple H had a certain brand of. So Inigo, yeah, I get it. He is trying pretty hard, but you know what? He's the closest thing that they have to a real heel. I'll let it slide for right now. He'll find his voice and get better, in a little bit. He's just starting. But, the thing about it is that Triple H, this is all Triple H's baby. Remember, everybody, and this is where I was saying that people on the internet get mad at me. They're like, the failings of NXT are all Vince McMahon's fault. He invested highly in all of these talents and all of this stuff only to snuff them out on the main roster and not make them stars. No, the failure with NXT was NXT. Triple H, honed this whole, company that did great for hardcore fan and great and wrestling fans. They did great for them. WG Phil, that is the funny. That is a very big funny part of the NXT success. But he took all these talents, he put them into this, into this group, and people really started to like NXT. And remember, the original NXT, the NXT that people started to like, was full of guys like Tyler Breeze, who wasn't a big indie name, Baron Corbin, Bo Dallas, Big E, Roman Reigns, the Wyatts. These weren't guys that were, okay, fine. Brody was an indie guy for a very long time and had a big indie background. But for the most part, they weren't indie wrestlers. They were guys that were brought up in the WWE system for the most part. And that's when Velveteen Dream, that's the people that everybody got behind. Triple H then started plugging in holes that he had in that roster with available indie talent. And that's where NXT started getting better in the ring, but started getting worse for what it really was. It started becoming a third brand instead of a developmental brand. That third brand failed. It didn't make enough money. It didn't produce the star power that they all thought. And they got the crap kicked out of them by AEW. Oh, thank you, AJ. NXT was getting its ass kicked by AEW. NXT could get the same indie talent because they would rather be in AEW. Make no mistake about it. Guys like MJF or Darby would be in NXT. You're probably right. Shap, Corbin was huge. Corbin was having very short matches on NXT. People were counting down. Corbin was over in NXT. Despite the fact that everybody doesn't want to admit it, Corbin was way over in NXT. But if something is hemorrhaging money, it's not doing well in the ratings, and it's not giving Vince McMahon the talent that it wants to put on the main roster, why is it there? Why is it there? Look, I love the Black and Gold brand, and I love Triple H, and I love what he did with the brand, but it also didn't do business well. If you look at how many guys that were NXT, were NXT talents, you can even throw in guys that like Seth Rollins, who had obviously a wealth of wrestling, knowledge and, under his belt before he became an NXT guy. Look at the amount of guys that came from the Black and Gold NXT brand that became world champions in WWE. It's Seth Rollins. It's Big E. Now it's Drew McIntyre. And at the end of the day, outside of that, it hasn't done a lot. And look at the women that it's contributed to the main roster. Paige, Emma, Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, Sasha, Bianca. Everyone outside of Asuka wasn't an indie talent at all. All the best NXT talents, all the most successful NXT talents were WWE products. And Base, you're 100% right. They are. Roman is the, I'm sorry, you're right. Roman is the biggest one. And on top of all that, if you couple that with all the people that, have been successful on the male side, it's mostly been homegrown guys. You can even say Drew McIntyre was homegrown too. Yes, he wrestled in Scotland and him and Sheamus, wrestled on the indies, overseas and stuff like that. But he got his, the most knowledge he's ever gotten in professional wrestling has been in WWE. Indie guys do not translate well to WWE. They never have. AJ Styles did. Right. Mox, right. Mox, was a CZW wrestler. Mox did a lot of stuff before he became WWE. That's true. And so did Seth. But as you can see, the most successful guys are WWE guys. We talk all the time about the Ruthless Aggression era. Who were the guys that got pushed the biggest in the Ruthless Aggression era? WWE found talent. Brock Lesnar, Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton. Those were guys that everybody talks about as being, the guys WWE based around. Guess what? They weren't indie talent. They were homegrown. They were exactly what WWE wanted. They were exactly where they wanted them to be. They were all ready to learn. Yes, 100% base. And that's the big thing. Everybody getting mad about WWE now going back to it just being, to them forming their own talent and growing their own talent from the beginning. See, Jim, the thing is that they don't think they acquired these talents to stifle them. They acquired them. Triple H wanted to bring them into NXT to add to the already, the wealth of talent they had there to teach these guys about other styles of wrestling, to get different wrestlers in there with them, and to push his brand. At the end of the day, though, it was never supposed to be a brand. It was supposed to be developmental. And now look what they did. They got rid of all the guys that had, some sort of an indie credential background out of NXT. It's now become a WWE brand. And look at what they've done. In 3 months, they've pushed guys like Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes to heights that, other guys that, they couldn't push their other homegrown guys, because what did anybody want to see out of NXT? They wanted to see the indie talent thrive. They wanted to see the Keith Lees become world champion. They wanted to see Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm going to have to sign off in a little bit. My voice is really taking a hit here. Finn Balor, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Bobby Roode, Drew McIntyre. Oh, Henny, I agree. I'm not going to disagree with that. You're not going to get me. Look at my Twitter. You're not going to see me getting mad about anything to do with them firing. Finding anything positive with them firing William Regal or Samoa Joe. I think it was stupid. But at the end of the day, what they're doing is they're changing the culture again and getting back to basics. And that's where they found their best talent. You're going to tell me that Braun Breaker is not going to be a top tier WWE talent? He's going to. It's in the stars already. It's already written there. Mr. J, how are you, buddy? It's going to be hard to find homegrown talent when most wrestlers are going to have to do it. Oh, WG Phil, they have the NIL now. The next in line. They're recruiting talent that aren't wrestlers. See, Hosey, I don't think so. Because NXT was great. Well, Jim, you're 100% right there. It is the Omicron, and it's beating the shit out of me. I'm sweating. I'm sitting here. I'm just sweating. I know I'm wearing a hoodie indoors, but it's also, I'm in New York, and it's 9 degrees outside, and I'm sweating right now. Nice, Mr. J. That's awesome. Mr. J, I'm all right. getting over COVID, which is why I'm probably going to be signing off within the next couple of minutes. So my throat is killing me, and my head's starting to spin a little bit. So yeah. Yeah, but that's what they've been doing. That's where they got Gable Steveson from. That's where they had that whole NIL thing up on Twitter of a bunch of athletes that they signed that they're going to train from the bottom up. And that's the thing, Sweep. You bring up a great point. Checking most of their boxes. That's what WWE is going to do. If they do sign somebody from the Indies or from AEW or from any other wrestling organization, he's going to have to check every single one of their boxes. Shop, it is. It is. And if it's not, it is now. Thank you, Sweep. I appreciate it. I'm on the mend. I'm almost done. I tested positive on Tuesday. Monday to Wednesday were really rough. I'm starting to get better. As you can hear in my voice, I'm not all the way there, though. Oh, look at this guy. Can't answer text, but he can in the group, but he can come on the old YouTube chat. If I tell John and Tommy about this, then they're not going to be happy with you. Oh, base, 100%. They would love to get their hands on a guy like MJF. And to be completely honest, you want to talk about well booked in AEW? MJF only wrestling once a month but getting on the microphone all the time is the best booking you could ever do. MJF doesn't need to be inside of a wrestling ring wrestling to be a top star. He needs a microphone in his hand, and they kill it every week. He kills it every week. I got you. Big guy. Well, once you're feeling a little bit better and I'm feeling a little bit better, I'll come over there and I'll give you a little shoulder massage. That should help you. Jim, go give Dennis a shoulder massage. I've been taking a multivitamin, trying to get myself back up there. I finally started eating again, so that's a positive. But yeah, those guys are going to really have to check their boxes. They're not going to just hire wrestlers anymore. They're going to go and they're going to find people that they can form into their own, just their own way of how they want to do everything. And that's been the WWE's, forte for the longest time. We've seen how many people in the chat have just thrown out names that WWE has been a homegrown talent. Half of their women's division are homegrown talents. They do well in this. I know that a lot of people aren't happy with them pushing themselves away from hiring indie talent, but let's face it, indie talent hasn't done well over the past couple of months. Base, here's my thing. When Chris Jericho is ready to retire, he will. I don't think he should retire. I think he should just retire when he's ready. I think he shouldn't be full-time right now. But I think he should, when he's ready, he'll retire. I don't think he's lost that much of a step in the ring either. So that's just me. Oh, Sweep, that's exactly how he wanted it to sound. Hosey, I hope your daughter's feeling better. No, she had the whole toe deal. Hope she's healing up. Give her my best. And always my best to you. I'll obviously be talking to you at one point during the rest of this day. So instead of saying goodbye, I'll say I'll talk to you in a few. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, I think Jericho brings in viewers. I think that Jericho can retire and he can retire when he's ready. And I think he can just be a guy on the outside. I think he'd be a great, look, I got to say, I love Jericho. That the promo that he did, I did like that he called 2.0 Terrence and Phillip. I thought that was pretty funny, but some of the other stuff it was a little juvenile. I think he's really good about getting little things over. I think this was a rare miss for him though. But yeah, I don't think I don't see Jericho retiring anytime soon. And I don't think he should retire until he's ready. Base, I'll say one thing really quick about Antonio Brown because in the next 2 minutes in the next minute I'm gonna log off. One really quick thing about Antonio Brown, the man's a psychopath. He really needs help. He needs mental help, and somebody needs to look out for him and tell him that his actions are only hurting himself. WG Phil, I think WWE will just use Impact whenever they want to. I think that that's what they do with everyone. They're doing the same thing with AEW. I think when WWE wants something, they're going to go out. They're going to say, hey, can we do this? And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you loan guys that are on your show to go on there? You know that the WWE will, give them the whole okay, ruthless aggression documentary. We're going to talk to Christian about his feud with Chris Jericho, and we're going to talk to Jericho about his feud with Christian. They'll put the little AEW superstar on the bottom just to appease them. Why wouldn't you let them do it? Sweep, a lot of people have been saying that, and if that's the case, someone needs to help the guy out instead of enabling him right now. It's not good. It's not a good look for AB. And I hate Tom Brady. There are people in the chat that can attest of how much I can't stand Tom Brady. But he's the one guy that stuck up for Antonio Brown, and he's the guy he's throwing under the bus. I don't know. AB's crazy. All right, but it's been an hour and a half. I wanted to be on here for a half hour. But I missed you guys so much, I decided to extend my stay. So for all of you guys who missed the beginning of the stream, I just want to throw out that, yes, I am getting over COVID. Yes, that is the reason why I haven't been around. No, I don't plan on being on for much longer. And yes, I have a 3-part video shot and ready to be edited that I will be working on over the next couple of days. And I'll be getting that out to you as soon as I possibly can. But what I do want you guys to do is on this video, on my next couple of videos, on every video I have, I don't care what it is, throw comments on there. Tell me what you guys want to see, and I will do my best to get it to you. The next couple of weeks are going to be a little bit shaky with me moving and with me still being a little bit sick. But once I'm back at 100%, you bet your asses that I will be back more and more. Base, tell Dave that I love him, and tell Dave that I miss him, and tell Dave that the next time he wants to do a live stream and you guys are tired of just dealing with him by yourselves, tell him to hit me up. I'm around. AJ, I missed you a lot. I missed all of you guys. Thank you, each and every one of you. Even if you had stopped in here for 3 seconds or for an hour and a half, I love each and every one of you. You guys are the best. You're the best corner of the internet that anyone could ever ask for. I have the best viewers. People insult me sometimes when I'll say something about wrestling on Twitter and they'll be like, oh, you only have 100 and something viewers. Well, guess what? I don't care. The 100 and something subscribers that I have are the best subscribers I could ever ask for. You guys are always going to be my favorite audience. You guys are always be a part of my family when it comes to this channel. And if this grows to have 1 million people or it shrinks to have just you guys, I will always be glad and happy to have you guys here. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay vigilant, and keep me laughing, Sweet, because it makes me feel good. Let me know what you guys want to see. Let me know, what you guys want. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being so supportive. Till next time, I'll see you guys soon. There's the end button.